welcome. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET Now with me, Snehi Shah, and with me is Vinny Motiwala. Vinny, very good afternoon to you, and it's a good afternoon indeed, isn't it? Because
Absolutely.
markets have recovered, we're back in the green, Nifty is above 22,000. Take us through what's happening.
Absolutely. Nifty above the 22,000 mark, holding on as of now to that level, recovered sharply in the second half, post 12, we've seen that up move coming in for Nifty. And, only in the morning that we'd seen such a fall coming in. After that, slowly and steady recovered. As of now, 22,000 levels is for the Nifty. Broader markets, that's also seen a recovery coming in, not as fast as one was expecting in the broader markets. Nifty mid-cap still trading a bit subdued, but off the day's lowest point, trying to inch up to that green mark. Small cap is managing to hold on to some bit of a green, slight bit of a green there, almost 0.1% or 0.1%, you could say, in terms of the gains that is coming in for the small cap. Other than that, what's leading the rally today for the Nifty is HDFC Bank among the positive side. That's up more than 1%, a couple of percent there. Bharti Airtel, ITC managing to hold on to strong gains today, as well as M&M, which is holding on to gains. But which are the other movers in trade? What is keeping the stocks abuzz? That is what we'll be taking you all through in the next 1 hour as well, viewers, and that's what we'll be keeping an eye out on.
Absolutely, Vinny. So let's kickstart the show. We'll take you through all the buzzers and newsmakers in today's trading session within a minute. And to do that, we're being joined by a team of researchers and technical experts. On the research front, we have Gaurav as well as Ansh. And on the technical front today, we have Foram M.Chheda, founder at Chart Analytics. Thank you, all three of you, for joining us today. With that, let me kickstart the show. Let's talk about the first stock in focus today, and that is Dixon Tech, because Dixon Technologies Limited's India Limited's wholly owned subsidiary Paget Electronics has entered into an agreement with Longcheer Mobile India Private Limited for manufacturing and sale of smartphones, according to an exchange filing today. Paget Electronics has commenced manufacturing and sale of smartphones for large global brands with Longcheer's design and technology. The collaboration aims to enhance Paget Electronics' offerings in the smartphone market. Longcheer has strong capabilities in product-level solution design, hardware innovation design, system-level software platform development, lean production, supply chain integration, and quality control capabilities. They provide integrated smart product services to global leading consumer electronic brands and tech enterprises across multiple countries and regions with global delivery capabilities. And it also has around 28% share of original design manufacturers at the global level. This is what the exchange filing has said. So on the back of this a collaboration that Paget Electronics has done with Longcheer, the stock was trading under a lot of pressure today. We've seen a sharp recovery after this announcement has come, but still the stock is reeling under pressure, almost 0.5% down in a trading session as we speak.
Okay, that's Dixon Tech for you all. Let's move on, talk about Tata Communications. This is a stock which is under pressure today as well. They came out with the numbers yesterday. What we're seeing is, yes, when you look at the numbers, below estimates that came in, profits saw a sharp jump because there was obviously owing to an exceptional loss that was there in the base quarter. So that's on a quarter-on-quarter base when you're comparing. That's why a sharp jump. Other than that, profits also were aided by the write back in taxes. Now, other than that, consolidated data revenue was down, organic data revenue remained flattish, switches and Kaleyra performance was a bit weaker than expected. So when you look at the brokerage notes, ICICI Securities has actually downgraded the stock to a hold from an ad. They cut the target price to 1,870 from previous target price of 1,900 rupees. They've lowered the earnings estimates to factor in the lower margin expansion. Kotak has also come out with a note. They're maintaining a sell rating. They've cut the target price marginally to 1,525 from previous 1,595. Lower revenue is something that they're seeing estimate, and they estimated to continue to see a moderation in terms of the data revenue growth. That's a bit of a concern, and that is why Tata Communications today down almost 5% as we speak. But we managed to speak to the management, saying, and they did give it some commentary in terms of the margins. That's going to be interesting to hear what the management has to say in terms of the margins. How is the outlook going to be, their roadmap going forward? So let's go across and listen into what he had to say.
There is a drop, but I would say largely it is going by design. We are in a mode of investment. When we called out our strategy to double our revenues, we said that we need to invest in the markets with people on the ground, invest in marketing. As an integrated unit, the media business will turn profitable. And similarly, Kaleyra integrated with our erstwhile Bigo and InstaCC platforms, which is what we call as a customer interaction suite, that will turn profitable this year. Our strategy very clearly is to improve the margins in this coming year. I don't want to comment on a quarter-on-quarter basis, but our strategy when we acquire these companies is to deliver on the synergies, to deliver and make them profitable, which means that our overall company profitability will go up. That is what we're working on.
Well, all right, that's the word coming in from the management of Tata Communications. But let's kind of move on then. Let's start talking technical and Foram. I'm going to come to you for Quest Corp. Now, this stock is holding up pretty smartly in today's trading session, 1% higher on the 1-year basis, 6-month basis. Also, the stock has done pretty well for itself. So, what's next for the stock? What are you penciling in?
Oh, well, hi, good afternoon, and thank you for having me on the show. Well, to begin with, technically speaking, the stock did form a high of closer to 582 levels in the month of Feb, and after that, we saw a decent correction coming in that was nearly 20%. So it formed its low near 464 levels in the month of March, rather middle of March, and it took support near the 200-day moving average, which also indicates that it's trying to form a base. It kind of formed a base for the next few trading sessions, and then we saw a bit of again a rebound, or I would say a resumption of an up move. The stock price crossed above 50-day as well as 100-day, confirming that the overall trend remains bullish. Last week or a fortnight back, the stock price again reached back to 582 levels. That was the previous high in the month of Feb, and it was facing a bit of resistance. However, now in the last week itself, we saw a good breakout from those 582 levels, and the stock price has been witnessing some good momentum, which is backed by a very good increase in volume, which is supporting this bullishness. So since volume plays a very vital role and the increase in volume is supporting the bullishness, so overall trend continues to remain up. Currently, the stock price is already up by is up currently at around 630 levels, but it's a good buy at around 600 levels, and one can maintain a stop loss below the levels of 575 and look for a higher target of closer to 700.
Keeping an eye out on those target levels for Quest Corp over there. But let's move on, talk about Bajaj Auto. And Ansh, Bajaj Auto is in focus on the back of its numbers. We do have brokerage notes. What is all that highlighting? Stock is down almost 2.5% today.
Yes, that's right. So the company has reported revenue at 11,484 crore, which is up by 29%. Now, this is slightly above the expectation. Also, the profit after tax is up by 35%, which is again slightly above the expectation. If we talk about EBITDA, there also we are seeing improvement. It is up by 34.4%, and EBITDA margin has improved by around 180 basis point to 19.7%, which is in line with the expectation. Now, there was a con call as well, and let's talk about the highlights as well. So the company expects two-wheeler industry to grow at 7 to 8% in FY25, whereas 125cc and above segments are expected to grow at a faster rate. If we talk about a three-wheeler segment, then it is expected to grow in single digits. If we talk about exports, then the company expects positive export growth in FY25, and they are planning to enter the European market for e-two-wheelers as well. Also, if we see the chart of the stock, on year-to-date basis, it is up by around 30%, and it trades above key DMA levels as well.
Surely keeping an eye out on that. Let's not forget brokerage notes like Citi have maintained their sell but hiked the target price to 6,500 rupees for Bajaj Auto, and even JP Morgan has hiked the target price, and they've given a target price of around 10,000 rupees for Bajaj Auto. So that's going to be...
Yeah.
Notes are quite bullish, though today the stock is under pressure, Maybe something the street
Absolutely.
is not liking, but yes, that's what is interesting that one should watch out for.
Absolutely. So good hikes coming in from brokerages across for Bajaj Auto. With that, let's get a move on, talk about yet another earnings candidate that came out with its numbers yesterday. Gaurav, HDFC Life is the stock I'm talking about. Lots to talk about. We have management commentary, brokerage notes, so take us through it.
Yes, HDFC Life came up with the numbers, and if you look at the numbers, the APA growth was actually flat, but if you look at normalized AP, it grew almost by 11% on a YY basis. Now, there were two things to highlight during the results. First is that VNB margins. If you look at VNB margins, it was at 26.3%, which shown a downtick of 103 basis point on a quarter-on-quarter basis. And at the same time, if you look at the solvency ratio, it was down almost to 187% versus what it was at 203%. And this was mainly because of the ULIP product contribution that has increased to 35% in the portfolio. Now, what the management had said was actually a bit surprising, because they have now said that they will be flexible on trading of VNB margins while maximizing the VNB growth. Now, they have also said that they do not anticipate any kind of large fall in terms of VNB margins, but it looks like the brokerages have taken it in a pessimistic way, because if you look at Macquarie now, they have maintained neutral rating with a target price of 635, but they have a view that VNB growth may remain under pressure because because of the irrational competition that we may see. Apart from that, we also have Citi, who has cut the target price to 710 rupees. Goldman Sachs has also cut the target price from 770 rupees to 710 rupees. So all in all, a pessimistic view coming up from brokerages. We've also seen that the stock is down in day trade, so definitely keeping an eye on these counter.
Surely keeping an eye out on this counter today. But let's move on and talk about PVR Inox. Forum, it's the weekend. There are any releases that you are going to go and watch, or only the stock that you're keeping an eye out on today?
I guess as far as movies are concerned, there are lots of movies coming up, and I'm sure that all of us would like to see and get some entertainment. Well, talking about the stock particularly, technically last year in September, the stock price was closer to around 1800 odd levels. However, by December, it formed like a double top and it started coming down. It had a support level of 1565 levels. However, it broke those levels this year and it went down. So the double top target was closer to 1298, which was achieved last month exactly. It went down to around 1240 levels. And since then, we can see a bit of a rebound. So since technically there was a downside target which was achieved, and then we saw a bit of a consolidation, a base formation near 1300 levels, and there is a gradual up move which can be seen currently. With this gradual up move, the stock price is now crossing above the 50-day moving average, which is indicating that the short-term trend of the stock is changing to bullish. And technically, there is a formation of an inverted head and shoulder. The neckline is closer to a level of 1430. So any closing above those levels would trigger a buy. But since markets have been lately very volatile, so a very strict stop loss should be placed below the levels of 1365, and one can look for a higher target of closer to 1550.
Okay, 1550 target that one should keep an eye out on for PVR Inox. But let's move on, talk about Wipro then. We have Wipro in focus today. Why? Because we are keeping an eye out on the numbers. When you look at the Q4 numbers, what is the expectation this time around? Seeing a revenue decline of around 0.2% in terms of CC growth is what we're expecting. Guidance said that for a Q basis, we would see a dip of around 1.5%. So yes, keeping an eye out on that. IT service revenue, what are the key factors? That demand environment, how is that shaping up? Challenges that have been there in the BFSI segment. So any commentary on that front, how that is going to be, is key to watch out for, because we've seen, Infosys started seeing a fall coming in as well after its numbers. The ADRs have seen a fall. So that's something interesting that we'll watch out for. Also for Wipro, the new CEO strategy, right? The change in CEO that's going to be happening. That is a key one to watch out for. Guidance for FY25's key factors, demand, leverage, margins, deal wins, how that's shaping up. Is that going to be remaining still muted? Key factors that one should keep an eye out on for Wipro. So let's keep an eye out on that. Numbers will be coming out, and today is what we're watching out for the stock.
Well, absolutely. So important numbers yet lined up for us even after market hours. It's not an easy Friday. It's definitely not a Friday that ends with the market ending. We'll be watching out for Wipro. But viewers, with that, we'll slip into a very short break on this edition of Market Fatafat. We'll keep it going with all the stocks on the other side of this break. Hi there viewers, welcome back. We're still watching Market Fatafat on ET now. Let's keep it going with all the stocks that are buzzing in today's trading session, and let's talk technicals once more with Forum. Forum, you've picked up Graphite India for us. Tell us, why have you picked this stock on your radar? What are the charts saying going ahead?
Graphite overall, the trend has been quite bullish. It has been consistently forming higher tops and higher bottoms. Now, last year in October, the stock price formed a low of around 437, which was also like taking a support near the 100-day moving average. And since then, we've seen a very good up move. Now, this up move halted near 650 levels, that is in the month of February. And then we saw a bit of a retracement, or we can say as a correction, which led to the stock price getting into a consolidation. Now, after almost more than a month of consolidation, now we have seen the stock price seeing some kind of a momentum that is picking up. There is a very good increase in volume in the past few trading sessions. And in fact, when in the last week the stock price corrected, it just closed marginally lower from its breakout levels. But again, it has picked up and giving a very strong closing. So when overall trend is bullish, there is a good increase in volume, and an indicator like parabolic SAR also continues to remain in a buy mode. It indicates that the overall stock can witness a continuation of an up move. Thus, one can just look at maintaining a stop loss below the levels of around 636 and look for a higher target of closer to 700 to around 720 levels.
Okay, surely keeping an eye out on that. You can see flashing on the bottom of your screens. Look at the recovery. Actually, I want to pull up the markets, Nifty, 0.5% uptick, 2,100 100 levels. We started 22,100 levels. We started at just around 22,000. Request my producer to just pull up the charts of Nifty Bank, because that's surely seeing a sharp recovery. I also want to be marking, which stocks are seeing the recovery. So let's pull that up as well. When you're looking at it in terms of the recovery, we're seeing HDFC Bank leading the recovery. We do have Bharti Airtel. That's there in terms of a strong move that we're seeing. Reliance making it to the positive side. Look at Nifty Bank. Day's highest point as of now is what we're seeing, the Nifty Bank up 0.8% comfortably in the green there. And Reliance is another one that we should talk out and watch out for as well, coming back on the positive side. Will be reporting its numbers on Monday. So yes, leading the recovery. FMCG pack, that's coming up as well, on the charts over there. So that's interesting to watch out for. Other than that, obviously the mid and small cap, let's put up the Nifty mid cap. What's that doing? Are we seeing a recovery in the Nifty mid cap? Seems like slight bit of a recovery, not much over there. Nifty mid cap is still on the red side, but rest coming and inching much closer to the green. Small cap up almost 0.3%, but sharp recovery. From the day's low, we are seeing a recovery of 1.5%. So that's interesting to watch out for, that how the shares have moved on. But let's talk about the next stock that I'm going to talk about is Elcon Engineering. They just reported their numbers a short while ago, and seems like a decent set of numbers that has come in from the company. When I'm looking at it in terms of the revenue of the company from the balance sheet, it's around 5,664 crores, 564 crores, I beg your pardon, sorry, 564 crores versus 425 crores last year. So a jump in terms of the revenues of the company. Even when you're looking at it in terms of the profits of the company, we're seeing a jump there as well, almost near doubling we could say, because 103 crores is what the net profit is at versus 67 crores last year. So keep an eye on that. That sharp spike surely came into the stock. It went up as much as 4%. That spike went up to now holding on to almost gains of 3%. But they just announced their numbers, keeping an eye out on more details in terms of margins as well as the EBITDA performance. But good numbers, seems like it, at least on the face of it.
Well, absolutely, Vinny, and markets are also reacting rather positively to these numbers, given that spike that
and the stock split. I forgot to mention the stock split that they announced as well. So yes, that's also something that we're keeping an eye out on for Elcon Engineering.
All right, well, let's get to move on, talk about more earnings candidates. And well, Infosys numbers came out yesterday, and Ansh, you've picked out Infosys. Share the numbers, share the brokerage notes, tell our viewers everything there is to know about this stock.
Yes, so the stock is in a bit of a pressure currently. They have reported operating margin at 20.1% versus expected of 20.7%. Also, the dollar revenue at 4,564 million versus expected of 4,640 million. Also in INR terms, 37,923 crore versus 38,750 crore. Whereas the PAT, they have this is a bit more than the expected. The expected was around 6,215 crore, and it has come in at 7,975 crore. So there was a miss in revenue, EBITDA margin than expectation, and there was a miss in guidance too. But let's also talk about guidance. So the guidance for FY25, the company has said that the revenue growth will be between 1% to 3% in constant currency versus expected of 2 to 5%, and operating margin of 22% versus expected of 20.5 to 22.5%. Also, there were a few brokerage reports too where we saw targets getting slashed actually. For example, JP Morgan and UBS both have trimmed their target price from 1800 to 1700. Also, if you see the chart, the stock is down around 20% of year high, but currently it is trading in an oversold region. So we may see some positivity coming in.
All right, viewers, with that, we'll slip into a very short break. We'll keep it going with all the stocks. You stay tuned to ET Now.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.